Could this one change kill Warzone, destroy Warzone, nuke it to oblivion, get rid of the game? Now, we know that back months ago, we saw leaks saying that if Warzone didn't get their shit together and Verdansk didn't save the game, then it was at risk for being removed forever. So Verdansk comes out and it goes well, and this new thing called casual comes out. Now, if you didn't see Ink Slasher, that channel yesterday, I made a video going over what Warzone solo casual has done to the community, what is going on with it, my opinions on it. Well, there's another video here from the Tactical Brit, and he says this one change just destroyed Warzone. And I'm curious how he's going to frame this, what he's going to say about it. I will give you my opinion on it. But yeah, let's see what he's saying.
Call of Duty has made a decision today that I feel is going to fundamentally change.
So this either came out on update day or when the patch notes came out, which was Wednesday. This video you're seeing should be going up Sunday.
The future of Warzone, and not necessarily for a good reason. I'm talking potentially, in my opinion, the beginning of the end for what is a very unique battle royale.
Go on.
Now, for all its flaws and all of its shortcomings, and good God have we spoken about that at length on this channel, Call of Duty is one of the last remaining BR games that actually throws you into a 150-player lobby against 150 real players.
Okay, so yes, I agree with this. This is the real thing. This is the real deal as to one of the things that makes Warzone successful. 100% agree with that. And I don't think that should go anywhere. But I'm curious where he goes with this.
But that's about to change. And I think it's about to change permanently. And I think
Call of Duty
are very much not being honest about their intentions.
Okay.
You might remember at the start of Season 3 and the integration with Verdansk, Call of Duty released BR Casual, and it's a way for you to play Battle Royale with primarily bots and a handful of real players. And honestly, I'm well behind this decision.
Perfect.
BR Casual as an additional mode is actually pretty genius. It lets people get back into the game, it lets people play quite casually, and allows them to build back up their confidence before playing against regular.
Okay, so this is where he's wrong. And I will go as far as to say he's wrong. Like, I truly believe he is not right in saying this, because this is what I see streamers play, which, by the way, is interesting about this, because he was one of the people that we watched that said streamers are killing the game. And I think he's doing the same right here. What everyone says, the people who play or watch people play casuals and say, oh, they're just getting ready to go back and play regular Verdansk. What people don't realize is I think 80% of the people who go and play casuals aren't doing it to warm up, aren't doing it to get ready for regular mode. They are doing it because they enjoy that. They enjoy getting to the end game every game. They enjoy actually being able to compete to the end of the game with everyone else. They don't even want to play regular mode. They want to play casuals. And streamers, people who make videos, people who play this game competitively, can't understand that. They just can't. It doesn't compute. So immediately, I think we need to change what we think people are wanting and what they're wanting to play out of this, because I think he's just wrong in saying that.
Regular players. But this is where things are changing. Call of Duty is getting rid of solos.
This is weird.
The solo mode that you know and love with 150
yesterday.
players is being replaced by solos casual for an unvetted amount of time. This is part of the blog post in Season 4 today, and genuinely, I think this is the beginning of the end for not having bots in Battle Royale for Warzone. The only way you will be able to play solos as of Season 4 is to play it with bots, and there will be no other way to enjoy it, no other way to approach it.
Which, I'm not gonna lie, I do think is wrong, but I also think it's weird that they have ranked, they have skill-based matchmaked, and then they have casuals. Get rid of one of the ones without bots, and make it so that there's ranked solos. Problem solved.
No other challenge. Just simply playing BR solo, casually speaking, with bots, and some real players, but the majority of them won't be. Now, BR Casual is a concept that I've supported. It allows players to go from a very casual environment to playing regular games against real players to potentially even playing ranked in the future. It's effectively a stepladder, a stepping stone system that builds up the confidence of players, allows them to have their fun, and keeps them ultimately playing the game. But I have only ever been in support of this system if it's an addition to what is already available, not a replacement, because this is where the industry is going.
He is right
Fortnite
here,
has
though.
bots. PUBG has bots. Pretty much any mobile battle royale is entirely riddled with bots. And the only
So you have to look at why, right? You got to look at why.
way you can avoid them is by playing the ranked play edition of those games. And this is the first time Call of Duty is essentially saying, hey, look, we actually think this is better than playing with real players, and we're going to replace it, and we're not really going to tell you why. I'm going to explain why, because the answers are incredibly obvious and incredibly clear, but they're just not being honest about their intention here. They're saying that this is going to be a test. They're saying this is going to be something that will be monitored and could be changed on a day-to-day basis. But the reality is, this is not going away.
Why it's not going away, though, is the interesting part. Why it's not going away is because more people are going to play casual solos than would ever, or maybe have ever played regular solos. I will tell you that right now. And I wish they showed the numbers behind it, but they won't.
And the bigger reality is that this is the beginning of the end, not just for solos, but for duos and trios.
Yeah, I believe this too.
And quads. So why is this happening? Well, there's a very simple answer to that. BR Casual has probably been a raging success, so much so that they've even announced that Resurgence Casual is coming to the game with bots as well, and clearly is having lots of retention at keeping returning players playing the game, because they're playing an edition of the game that's more casual, ultimately for them more fun, but in my view, substantially less rewarding, seeing as you're essentially shooting bots. But in the grand old scheme of things...
Yeah, so this is like, I agree with that. I agree with that, right? Like when you get a player kill compared to when you get a bot kill, 100%. That's why I think they should show you when you get a player kill or not. But what he doesn't realize is you're still playing against players. And people who are playing casuals get a win, and they're like, well, that last 5 minutes of this game was all against players, not against bots. So you still get that rewarding feel. And yeah, maybe eventually they make it so that you can play ranked at every level, solo, duos, trios, and quads. Also, I will say this, I don't think they need duos and trios in casual. I think if you have solos and quads, if you're a duo, just playing quads. Like, I won a game solo quads in casual. It's very doable. I don't think you need duos and trios in there as well.
Call of Duty doesn't care. They don't care that they're bots. They don't care that they're potentially blurring the lines between AI being in the game and not being in the game and diluting their core experience. The only thing Call of Duty cares about is their bottom line.
Yeah.
The only thing they care about is their retention, and the only thing they care about is making money. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. They ultimately are a corporation that exists to make that job occur. But we're talking about the core formula of Warzone vanishing entirely. And guess what? If players are playing the game more frequently with bots and they're staying on the game for longer, chances are they might end up buying more things and more skins. And if Call of Duty can make you play longer, they've got your attention span longer, you might purchase their premium products more likely, you might purchase the skins they have, and hell, they can even gladly make it that all of the bots in the game are wearing the latest and greatest items in the store, so that you might be influenced into purchasing one of those items and possibly even offered a discount in the future. Now, some of you are probably sat there thinking, oh no, they definitely mean this is a test. This isn't definitely going to be a permanent change. You know, Call of Duty will listen to its audience.
But okay, so this is the problem, right? Is we need to realize as a community that the minority of the audience is the people on Twitch and YouTube. The majority of the audience is casual players. And again, what they're going to follow is the retention and player numbers. That's it. What you say, what I say in this video right now does not matter. What you say in the comments does not matter. The numbers, amount of people playing, the amount of people spending money, and the retention graphs, that's what matters.
I don't think they will.
Now, I think the retention graphs are pretty messed right now because they screwed up the servers, and that's going to screw up their test with solos. So maybe they do end up removing it because they'll think correlation equals causation, and when in reality, it's just you completely messed up an update, so less players are going to play.
And this is exactly the same line as to why skill-based matchmaking is never going to change in Warzone.
Okay, go on.
Call of Duty's one guiding principle, the one thing that they care about more than anything else in this game, is retention.
Yeah.
And as per their blog post, when Call of Duty turned off skill-based matchmaking, the vast majority of players stopped playing the game faster. So if Call of Duty can introduce a part of the game or a variant of the game where bots are part of the core experience, and it keeps people playing more frequently for longer, then the reality is that they're going to do that. They're not just going to separate the modes, they're going to release it primarily to the wider audience of this game. And quite frankly, I don't believe them either, because even if Call of Duty announces in a week that they're actually going to change it back and solos is going to return, this is a statement of intent. It's a real foot of intent in the right direction of what they want to achieve.
Yeah.
And it's only a matter of time before bots become the basis of Call of Duty. They might not even tell you that they're bots. They'll probably
I hope
try
that
to
doesn't
hide them,
happen.
obfuscate their usernames. And I've seen all these conspiracy theories in the past about there being bots in Warzone, and most of the time it is just people AFK farming XP. But now, there might be a very real reality in the future where they will just say, hey, this is BR solos, and by the way, we haven't told you 40% of these players aren't real players.
So my worry is that they do a thing like that, and then they implement skill-based matchmaking in it, and based off of how good of a player you are, it would dictate how many bots were in your lobby. I don't want that. I want them to just be honest what the game mode is. What they have done, I think, is good. I think, like, you go in, you say, there's 130 bots in this game, 20 players, or whatever the numbers are. I think it might be 110 bots and 40 players, but you tell them what it is, and that's what it is, no matter what. You don't screw with it, and I think they should make it more clear who are bots and who aren't.
It improves their matchmaking times, it will increase their retention, more people will play the game for longer, and if more people play the game for longer, more people are going to buy more things within that.
So I want him to now explain what the downside to that is. If people like it more, people are playing longer, and they enjoy the game more, what is the downside?
That game. This is a very serious problem that is not going away. It's something that's going to take the core experience
People are having fun, and that's the real problem?
playing against 150 real players and throw in the garbage. And the only way you'll be able to do that again in the future is by playing ranked. And Call of Duty's really written themselves into a corner here that's quite impressive. Not only do they now have BR casual, they're also going to have solo casuals, which you have to play. There's no other way of playing solos. They're also going to have Resurgence casual. And then on top of that, they're also going to have Resurgence ranked alongside regular BR ranked. And the only reason that that exists at all is because they completely forgot that EWC was taking place and that EWC needed a ranked playlist in order to compete in the tournament. So
is that true? Is that true? I didn't know that. I was wondering why they were bringing back an additional ranked.
If you want your Saudi Arabian money, we had to put that playlist live. And that doesn't even include the fact that some people are matchmaking on console only. So we're now talking divisions upon divisions upon divisions upon divisions of Call of Duty splitting its own player base. And granted, I'm sure they have many millions of players, but it's only one reality here. Eventually, when the retention starts to die out for some players, which it will as a result of bugs, as a result of cheaters, as a result of the game, or generally just feeling stale, they are going to have a problem on their hands, where they're going to have to start removing playlists.
Yep.
And their solution very well might be, hey, we're actually just going to introduce bots to everybody, and we're just not going to tell anyone. This isn't a conspiracy. This isn't a brazen move away from what's to be expected. This is just a fact of life. Call of Duty, Activision, how they operate.
We got to read the comments on this one.
Retention. And I will give them tons of credit as a development team for all their flaws and all their issues with the anti-cheat, for all their flaws and issues with the game, balancing, bugs, everything in between. The reality is that there are very few games out there that has probably achieved the amount of retention that Call of Duty has achieved with Warzone, and they have my respect for that, especially as somebody whose career this is. But the simple fact of the matter is, today, for me, represents what will be the beginning of the end for Warzone. You won't play 150 real players. It might not be now, it might not be in a couple of weeks, it might not be...
So what he didn't explain here is two things. I think in my video, I explained that I truly believe that if they added solos, duos, trios, and quads to ranked play, and that got rid of the dumb rules where you can't use half of the stuff, then you just get rid of regular, and then you have ranked play in all of them because there's already skill-based matchmaking in those anyway. So just put a rank associated with it, and then you have casuals. Problem solved. Get rid of the middle ground, and then you have the people who want to play against players in ranked, the people who want to play against bots and players in casual. End of story. I don't see any problems with that. The way that skill-based matchmaking is in regular games, I think it actually helps with that.
For a couple of months, but I guarantee you, over the space of the next year or two, bots are going to become a fundamental basis for Call of Duty Warzone, and you won't be able to avoid them. And the only way you will be able to avoid them is by playing ranked.
And what's wrong with that?
And even if they don't say that that's the case, I promise you, they're going to change the usernames, they're going to scramble the player lists, they're going to change how the social interactions or features of the game work.
That I don't like.
Friend request a bot by accident, and they're going to make it so that this game is not the same game that you've been playing and enjoying for the last 5 years. And I don't see why Call of Duty is going to do this either. BR casual and having casual playlists is brilliant. I love that. Give people the option to do so. But we're now talking about a Call of Duty future for Warzone where you can only play casual with bots. The only way to play big match.
Yeah, so then the other thing too is solos is not in ranked play right now. So like that's not a future that is there right now. So that's the actual problem of what's going on.
To actually play duos or quads because trios is locked behind ranked. And then on top of that, you're going to have resurgence playlists, which are also BR casual. So we're talking about divisions upon divisions upon divisions.
Yes, that's 100% a problem.
That can only work out in a problematic way. And the only way they solve that is by collapsing them in the future and likely integrating the feature sets and saying to all of us that there aren't any bots in the regular version of the game, but there probably will be. And yes, BR casual as a concept, like I've said, is great. I think it allows people to jump back into the game and it gives people an accessible entryway of enjoying Warzone. But it doesn't solve the fundamental issues that Warzone has in terms of retention.
Go on.
The anti-cheat being quite literally one of the worst things I've ever seen, and I do have a follow-up video.
I have run into cheaters more in casual than I have in regular. If we're going to be honest with you.
On this that we're going to talk about in the future, because I have some evidence of some things going on that I think is insane, so stay tuned for that and make sure that you're subscribed. But we're talking about just changing the fact that Call of Duty's unique 150 player experience is going away. You know, they're going to get rid of this. It's going to be an inevitability at this point. You know, PUBG has bots. Fortnite
they
has
all
bots.
do.
And if you want to play ranked, good luck. They're sweaty as hell. It's the only way you can play without those bots. It's going to change a lot. It really is fundamentally going to change a lot.
I mean, there is another option. You get rid of casuals and get rid of skill-based matchmaking. But that's not going to happen because those casual players are the ones that they actually want in the game. So now the bad players are in casual and they're protected by skill-based matchmaking. So even in their regular lobbies, they're basically playing with bots too. They're real people, but they might as well be bots, right?
It's going to change the future of this game, the trajectory of this battle royale. And quite frankly, the only saving grace at this point might just be Battlefield 6 and whatever BR that they're cooking up that has recently leaked.
They'll probably do the same thing,
because
man.
At this point in time, if I'm being entirely honest with you guys, I have no reason to believe anything that Call of Duty is going to say on this.
Yeah, that's true.
It's clear that retention is going well, and it's clear that they're going to change some things within their game to get that number as high as they humanly can and sell as much as they can.
I think I tweeted during season 3 and I said, I bet you 80 to 90% of players are playing casual right now, and I stand by that. I still think that's true.
In the can, which is fine. But they're going to do it in a way that's going to sacrifice the core of this game, and they're going to do it in a way that sacrifices how Warzone fundamentally works. And that's not good for the future, that's not good for Call of Duty, it's not good for the community, and it's something that we should all be aware of and be as vocally opposed to as humanly possible. Having solo casual as an option, fantastic. Having it as the default, it just can't run. This is not how the game should be, it's not how the future of this game should be. And I really, really hope everybody votes with their wallet here and says, nah, I'm not buying anything in COD so long as this is the case. Let me know your thoughts and feelings.
So, okay, this is not the thing that I have the issue with right now. It's the servers being completely broken and unplayable and unable to do anything on that front. So that's more so my issue. And then the advertisements in game and all of that stuff. The solos thing, I don't think that's like a vote with your wallet thing. I think people are going to play solos like crazy because it's easier now and actually doable solo. But there should be a way to play solo against 150 players. I will stand by that and I agree with that. But the player numbers are going to speak for itself. And if players enjoy as a whole solo casuals more, then that's what they enjoy more, man. Like, you're not going to like everything that they do in every game. And if they brought back solos right now, I guarantee you the matchmaking for it would take forever. There would be no one in the playlist and no one would be playing it alongside solo casuals. And that's the issue. Like, that's actually a really big issue. And to be quite honest, if they did it right, I think solo ranked would actually go pretty hard. Like I do. I think there'd be like a cool community built behind that. But it might be small. It might be too small and too unsustainable. But I don't know. We will see. Anyway, Warzone's not dead, but it's changing, and I think it'll continue to change over the next year. And things are going to get weird with like Battlefield 7 and Call of Duty 2025. And I've got a bunch of videos planned for that. But things are going to get weird. Things are going to get really, really weird in the next little while. And yeah, they already have with Warzone. I guess that's the point we're getting at.